The formation of the Japanese archipelago dates back millions of years. Japan emerged through the tectonic activities of the Pacific and Eurasian plates, shaping its landscape and environment into the present nation. The separation of the Japanese islands from the continent, forming the foundation for the development of a unique culture, took place around 10,000 years ago as the last ice age ended and the Jomon period began. During this time, with changing climates, hunter-gatherers began to settle on the Japanese islands, and early forms of agriculture developed. The Jomon period represents one of Japan's oldest sedentary cultures. This era, which lasted from approximately 13,000 years ago to around 300 BCE, fostered a distinct culture over an extended period. The name Jomon is derived from the chord mark patterns pressed into the surfaces of pottery created during this time. Jomon pottery is highly diverse, often decorative, and features many rare shapes unique worldwide. Jomon people led lives centered on hunting, fishing, and gathering plant resources, gradually forming settlements and decreasing seasonal migrations in favor of more permanent living arrangements. Alongside the development of pottery, woodworking and bone processing technologies also advanced, creating refined tools for fishing and hunting. The social structure was likely still simple, with no clear class system or rulers. It is believed that Jomon people had a profound awareness of coexistence with nature. They respected natural forces and held beliefs rooted in animism and ancestor worship. Especially significant are ritual items such as dogu, clay figurines, and stone rods, which are thought to have been used in religious ceremonies and as prayer implements. Dogu often took the form of female figures, which are considered symbols of fertility and childbirth. Additionally, in line with their reverence for nature, mountains, rivers, plants, and animals were believed to house spirits, and it is likely that rituals and prayers were performed to honor these natural elements. The end of the Jomon period is marked by the beginning of the Yayoi period. The Yayoi period, from around 300 BCE to around 250 CE, saw significant transformations in Japan's agricultural culture and social structure, spurred by the introduction of technologies and cultural elements from China and the Korean peninsula. With the introduction of rice farming, the size of settlements increased, and the availability of abundant food led to the beginnings of social division of labor and stratification. Yayoi people adopted a new way of life focused on agriculture, which led to larger, more structured communities. Tools and weapons began to evolve, with iron and bronze replacing stone as the primary materials. The concept of land ownership and territorial boundaries began to take hold, leading to the emergence of regional leaders and small-scale political organizations. This period marked the start of class differentiation, as some groups gained more resources and power than others. Yayoi culture introduced a wide range of new customs and social norms that would become foundational to later Japanese society. The development of rice paddies and irrigation systems during the Yayoi period set the groundwork for Japan's future agricultural economy. The Yayoi people are thought to have been more socially organized than their Jomon predecessors, as evidenced by their elaborate burial sites and defensive structures. These changes laid the foundation for the rise of powerful clans in later centuries. The late Yayoi period saw the beginning of trade with neighboring regions, connecting Japan to the broader East Asian world. Japan's early international exchanges allowed for the transfer of knowledge, goods, and cultural practices that influenced the development of Japanese society. As the Yayoi period drew to a close, the groundwork for the Kofun period and early Japanese state formation was established. The Kofun period, around 250 CE, would mark the beginning of more centralized leadership and the construction of large burial mounds. These developments collectively marked the beginning of Japan's journey towards a unified state and centralized governance. The most important record about Yamatai-koku is found in the Chinese historical text Wei Zhi Warren Zhuan, records of the Wei dynasty's accounts of the Hua people, which was written during the 3rd century, in the time of China's Wei dynasty. This text describes the situation of the Hua people, Japan, living on the Japanese archipelago at the time. It reports the existence of Queen Himiko, known as the Queen of Hua, and her rule over the Yamatai-koku. The location and governance of Yamatai-koku remain topics of debate. It is one of the great mysteries of Japanese history, and while archaeological evidence is quite limited, it holds key insights into the governance and external relations of ancient Japan. According to the Wei Zhi, Yamatai-koku was a confederation of over 30 smaller states, with Queen Himiko reigning at its center. Himiko was said to possess the abilities of a shaman, combining religious authority with political power. It is believed that she was highly trusted by her people and was appointed to quell political unrest. During Himiko's time, Yamatai-koku established diplomatic relations with Wei China. In 239, Himiko sent envoys to the Wei court, and it is recorded that she was granted the title King of Hua, friend of Wei, by the Wei Emperor. This diplomatic relationship suggests that Yamatai-koku held a significant influence within the Hua, and interactions with China likely played a role in the formation of states on the Japanese islands. The location of Yamatai-koku has been a subject of debate since ancient times, with two main theories prevailing today: the Kinki theory and the Kyushu theory. Kinki theory. This theory posits that Yamatai-koku was located in what is now Nara Prefecture or its surrounding areas. This theory is often associated with the later Yamato polity, suggesting that Yamatai-koku may have evolved into the Yamato kingdom. Kyushu theory. This theory argues that Yamatai-koku was located in northern Kyushu. Based on the descriptions in the Wei Zhi, some believe that Yamatai-koku existed in Kyushu and was separate from the later Yamato polity. Due to the scarcity of archaeological evidence, it remains unclear which theory is correct. However, ongoing excavations and research may provide new clues in the future. Insights into the lives of the people of Yamatai-koku can be drawn from the Wei Zhi and archaeological findings. Yamatai-koku is thought to have been an agrarian society, with rice cultivation playing a crucial role in the economy. The emphasis on rice farming likely contributed to social stability and development. The Wei Zhi also mentions that the people of Hua had tattoos and wore simple clothing, indicating that they had a unique culture. There are also references to weapons and armor, suggesting that warfare and conflicts with other nations were not uncommon. According to the Wei Zhi, Himiko ruled Yamatai-koku for a long time, but eventually passed away. After her death, the country fell into temporary chaos, with disputes over succession. To restore order, a woman named Io, who was related to Himiko, was appointed as the new queen. However, detailed records of Yamatai-koku's fate after this point do not exist. It is believed that after Himiko's death, Yamatai-koku gradually lost its prominence, eventually fading from the historical stage as the Yamato polity rose to power and expanded its influence. The Kofun period refers to the era in Japan from the mid-3rd century to the 7th century, characterized by the construction of large burial mounds called kofun. This period marks a significant time when powerful rulers emerged on the Japanese archipelago, and large political groups formed across the region. The Kofun period is also a time when Japan gradually unified under the rising Yamato polity, marking the transition from Yamatai-koku to the Yamato government in historical terms. During this era, political and social transformations accelerated, moving toward unifying the entire Japanese archipelago. At the center of the Kofun period was the Yamato polity. The Yamato polity expanded its influence from the region, centered around present-day Nara Prefecture, bringing many powerful clans under its control. The leaders of the Yamato polity eventually became known as emperors and are believed to have established Japan's first unified dynasty. The large keyhole-shaped tomb mounds built during this time symbolize the power of the Yamato kings and powerful clans. The scale of these tombs, scattered throughout the region, reveals the immense power of the rulers at the time. The Yamato polity not only used military force, but also formed alliances through marriage and diplomacy to consolidate its rule. The Kofun period is characterized by the existence of thousands of Kofun, ancient tombs. One of the most famous is the Nindokatenno-ryo Kofun in Sakai City, Osaka Prefecture, known as one of the largest keyhole-shaped tombs in the world. These tombs were not merely burial sites, but important monuments that showcase the authority of the rulers. Around the tombs were clay figures called hanawa, which represented humans, animals, and houses, offering valuable insights into the society and beliefs of the time. Hanawa were believed to protect the deceased or to be part of rituals and ceremonies. Inside the tombs, many burial goods such as weapons, ornaments, and agricultural tools were interred, reflecting the importance of these items as symbols of power and religious beliefs. As the Yamato polity expanded, Japan gradually moved toward unification. This process also saw increased diplomatic relations with the Korean Peninsula and mainland China. Relations with Korean kingdoms such as Beech, Goguryeo, and Silla played an essential role in the transmission of culture and technology. The Yamato polity adopted advanced metalworking techniques, Chinese characters, and Buddhism from the Korean Peninsula, spreading these innovations throughout Japan to strengthen its governance. The alliance with Beech was particularly significant for the Yamato polity, as artisans and cultural figures from Beech greatly influenced Japan's cultural development. However, Japan during this period was not yet a fully centralized state, and powerful regional clans still held significant influence. Nonetheless, these clans gradually integrated under the Yamato rule, laying the foundation for the later Ritsuryo state. In the process of unification, marriage alliances played a crucial role, alongside military power and diplomacy. Through marriages with regional clans, the ruling class strengthened blood ties and created a unified structure. These marriage policies allowed local leaders to be gradually incorporated into the central government. Additionally, the Yamato polity promoted the divinization of the royal authority, emphasizing the idea that the emperor was a descendant of the gods. This ideology reinforced the legitimacy of the emperor and his family as the rightful rulers of Japan. During this period, Shinto rituals and ceremonies became increasingly important, contributing to the establishment of religious authority as part of the ruling system. The Kofun period gradually came to an end in the late 6th to 7th century, transitioning into the Asuka period. During this transitional phase, the centralization of the state advanced, and the Ritsuryo system was further developed. The introduction of Buddhism and the influx of new technologies and cultures led to rapid development in Japanese society. One of the most notable figures of the Asuka period was Prince Shotoku, who served as regent during the reign of Empress Suko. His political reforms and the spread of Buddhism had a significant impact on Japanese society, which will be discussed in detail in the next chapter. The Asuka period refers to Japanese history from the late 6th century to the late 7th century, beginning with the end of the Kofun period. This period saw the establishment of a centralized state system, with rapid developments in culture and technology. Notably, the introduction of Buddhism and active foreign diplomacy brought significant changes domestically and abroad. One of the most prominent figures representing the Asuka period is Prince Shotoku. He served as regent under Empress Suko, managing political affairs and implementing numerous reforms. During Prince Shotoku's time, Japan began laying the foundations for a state governed by a strong central leader. The Soga clan was also highly influential during this period, with prominent figures such as Soga no Amako supporting and collaborating with Prince Shotoku to drive political reforms in Japan. This chapter will delve into the relationship between Prince Shotoku and the Soga clan, exploring their respective roles. Prince Shotoku, also known as Amido no Aji, was the nephew of Empress Suko. Known for his exceptional intelligence from an early age, legend has it that he could listen to 10 people's conversations at once. Prince Shotoku's greatest influence lay in political reform and the spread of Buddhism. Buddhism arrived in Japan in the mid-6th century from Beach, but initially faced divided opinions, with intense opposition. The Soga clan supported Buddhism, while the Mononobe clan opposed it. The Soga clan's eventual victory led to Buddhism gaining broader acceptance in Japan. Following this victory, Prince Shotoku adopted Buddhism as a guiding principle for governance and promoted the construction of temples and the spread of Buddhist thought. Horyuji, in particular, symbolizes Prince Shotoku's dedication to Buddhism and stands as a cultural heritage of the Asuka period. Prince Shotoku also integrated Buddhist teachings into politics, aiming for a governance style rooted in peace. One of Prince Shotoku's most notable political reforms was the establishment of the 17-article constitution. Enacted in 604, this constitution outlined Japan's early principles of governance. Unlike modern constitutions, it served more as a moral and ethical guide than as enforceable law. It emphasized loyalty to the sovereign, ethical conduct among officials, and the importance of peace and harmony based on Buddhist thought. For example, Article 1 advocates the principle of valuing harmony, stressing that national stability and harmony are of utmost importance. Prince Shotoku reinforced a central government system centered on the emperor, curbing the power of regional clans and advancing state unification through institutional reforms. This process gradually limited the independence of regional clans, promoting national unity. The 17-article constitution provided the ethical foundation for this new governance system, serving as a cornerstone for establishing a strong administrative organization around the emperor. Prince Shotoku's reforms are said to have been possible only with the support of the Soga clan. Soga no Amako, in particular, held significant influence in Japanese politics throughout the Asuka period. The Soga clan advocated for Buddhism and worked alongside Prince Shotoku to promote its spread and the construction of temples. After defeating the Mononobe clan, Soga no Amako solidified his position within the central government, wielding substantial political power under Empress Suko. Amako, closely allied with Prince Shotoku, actively promoted reforms in Japan's governance system, contributing to the development of a centralized state structure that would define the Asuka period. Prince Shotoku also prioritized foreign diplomacy, particularly strengthening ties with Sui China. In 607, he famously dispatched an envoy to the Sui emperor, declaring Japan's independent position as a nation where the sun rises. Emperor Tenji was an important figure who emerged during the latter half of the Asuka period, and his reign is regarded as a crucial time in the formation of a centralized state in Japan. Originally known as Prince Nakano Oi, he led the Ishin incident, which aimed to end the tyranny of the Soga clan, defeating Soga no Emishire and Soga no Irika. This event enabled Emperor Tenji to seize political power in Japan, after which he ascended the throne. During Emperor Tenji's reign, the introduction of the Ritsuryo system was a significant development. This legal system was established to enable the central government to govern the entire nation, thereby suppressing the power of local clans and strengthening the centralized governance structure. Emperor Tenji moved the capital to Omi-Atsu Palace and implemented various reforms to make the state operations more efficient. The Omi Code, initiated during his reign, laid the foundation for the later Ritsuryo system and greatly contributed to the development of Japan's legal framework. After Emperor Tenji's death, succession issues arose. A fierce power struggle erupted between Prince Otomo, the son of Emperor Tenji, and Prince Oma, Emperor Tenji's younger brother. This internal conflict is known as the Jinshin War and is considered a highly significant event in Japanese history. The Jinshin War broke out in 672, resulting in victory for Prince Oama. As a result, Prince Otomo committed suicide, and Prince Oama ascended the throne as Emperor Tenmu. Following the Jinshin War, Emperor Tenmu gained substantial power and further strengthened the centralized governance system. After ascending the throne, Emperor Tenmu advanced large-scale reforms aimed at establishing a Ritsuryo state. He sought to unify all clans across the nation and reduce the power of local nobles, thereby creating a cohesive state structure centered around the emperor. In particular, he introduced the Yakasa no Kabane system to clarify the hierarchy among clans, which helped mitigate conflicts among the nobility and strengthen national unity. This established a social order with the emperor at its apex, significantly advancing the governance structure of ancient Japan. Additionally, during Emperor Tenmu's reign, protective policies for Buddhism continued to be implemented, leading to the construction of temples throughout the nation. He regarded Buddhism as a symbol of the nation's peace and prosperity and emphasized it to enhance the religious authority of the emperor. After Emperor Tenmu's death, his wife, Empress Jito, ascended the throne. Empress Jito continued Emperor Tenmu's policies and further strengthened the centralized state system. During her reign, the construction of Fujiwara-kyo was advanced. Fujiwara-kyo was Japan's first fully-fledged capital city and served as an important urban center leading to Heijo-kyo in the Nara period. Empress Jito made steady progress toward completing the Ritsuryo state initiated by Emperor Tenmu, laying the groundwork for the governance system that would later be established during the Nara period. Her reign further refined the Ritsuryo system and solidified the establishment of a state structure centered around the emperor. The official use of the name Japan began after the reign of Emperor Tenmu. Until then, Japan was often referred to as Wo or Yamato Kuni, and it had been recorded as Wa in ancient exchanges with China and the Korean peninsula. However, during Emperor Tenmu's reign, a new national name, Nihon, Ruben or Nippon, was adopted to enhance the uniqueness of the nation and the authority of the emperor. There are various theories regarding when and how the name Nihon was specifically established, but it has been confirmed that the term Nihon was officially in use by the time of the Taiho Code enacted in 701. This new national name was also used in diplomacy with China, marking an important step in demonstrating that Japan was a unified nation on the international stage. With the centralization and establishment of the Ritsuryo state promoted during the reigns of Emperor Tenmu and Empress Jito, the use of the name Nihon became a symbol that strengthened the governance structure centered around the emperor and the unity of the land. This new name emphasized the imperial system and played a role in establishing Japan's identity as a nation. The Kojiki, Gushurji, is the oldest historical record in Japan, compiled in 712 based on the oral recitations of Hida no Bion no Yasumaro. The Kojiki records Japan's myths, legends, and the genealogy of emperors, and it is said to have been commissioned by Emperor Tenmu. The purpose of this compilation was to summarize Japan's legitimate history and emphasize the sanctity of the emperor. The Kojiki consists of 3 volumes: the upper volume, Shang, middle volume, Zhongjian, and lower volume, Shen. The upper volume begins with the Age of the Gods, covering the creation of heaven and earth and narrating the genealogy and myths of the deities. The middle and lower volumes record the genealogy of emperors from the first emperor, Emperor Jimmu, to Empress Suko, along with related events. The compilation of the Kojiki systematized Japan's history and mythology, placing the legitimacy and origins of the emperor in a mythological context. This led to the widespread notion that the emperor is a descendant of the gods, further reinforcing the imperial system. Following the compilation of the Kojiki, the Nihon Shoki, Rurban Suji, was completed in 720. The Nihon Shoki was compiled by Prince Tonari and others. And unlike the Kojiki, it is written in a more formal style based on a Chinese historical perspective. The Nihon Shoki spans 30 volumes and details the history from the Age of the Gods to Empress Jito, compiled as a factual record akin to Chinese historical texts. It was also used in diplomatic contexts with China and Korea to present Japan's history as legitimate, making it a national history book considering international influence. Moreover, the Nihon Shoki aimed to further elevate the authority of the emperor, incorporating a mythological framing that portrays the emperor as a descendant of the gods, similar to the Kojiki. In this way, the Nihon Shoki officially records ancient Japanese history and plays a crucial role in demonstrating Japan's uniqueness on the international stage. Both the Kojiki and the Nihon Shoki are not merely historical records, but possess a unique character that merges myth and history. This provides the Japanese imperial system with a mythological legitimacy, establishing a social structure where the emperor is central both politically and religiously. Particularly, episodes like the Tensun Korin, Tensun Janglin, the descent of the heavenly grandson, and the ascension of Emperor Jimmu are recorded, to emphasize that the emperor's rule is sacred. As a result, in ancient Japan, the concept emerged that the emperor governed the country by divine will, establishing the legitimacy of the emperor's rule over the people. As we have seen, Japanese history has been shaped over a long period of time, beginning with the Jomon period, continuing through the Yayoi period and the Kofun period, and ending with the Asuka period. Each period had its own unique culture and social structure. The Jomon period saw the development of a hunter-gatherer society. The Yayoi period saw rice cultivation and an agrarian culture, and the Kofun period saw the development of a large-scale royal power. Particularly in the Asuka period, influences from China and the Korean peninsula led to the introduction of the Ritsuryo system and Buddhism, which shaped Japan as a nation. A system of governance centering on the emperor was established, and ancient Japan developed as a nation with the emperor system at its center. During the Asuka period, important historical figures such as Prince Shotoku, the Soga clan, Emperor Tenchi, and Emperor Temu emerged, each of whom strengthened the Japanese state system in their respective historical backgrounds. In particular, during the reign of Emperor Temu, Japan's national identity was strengthened with the adoption of the country name Japan and the compilation of the Kojiki and Nihon Shoki. The emperor system had a political and religious role in ancient Japan, establishing the legitimacy of the emperor as a descendant of the gods. This concept has been inherited into the modern era, and the emperor continues to serve as the symbol of Japan. The legacy of ancient Japan from the Jomon to Asuka periods has many implications for modern Japan. First, the emperor system continues in the modern era and is widely recognized by the people as the symbol of Japan. Also, The foundation of the rule of law based on the Ritsuryo system and religious influences, particularly Buddhism, are deeply rooted in Japanese culture and thought. Furthermore, the wisdom and technology of ancient Japan, such as the coexistence with nature handed down from the Jomon period, the agricultural culture of the Yayoi period, and the civil engineering technology of the Kofun period, are still alive as values that underlie modern Japanese society. Japan's unique sensitivity to climate and culture has been nurtured in the course of its ancient history.